Democrats hold their third primary debate, and it goes about as well as you expect. John Bolton is ousted from the White House, and Hillary Clinton returns with an odd photo. My name is Sean Clinton, and this is the God and Freedom Show. Alrighty, I hope everyone has had a great week so far. Happy Friday. We have a lot to get to today, so let's not waste too much time. So, if you didn't have anything better to do last night, you'll probably end up watching the 3-hour-long Democratic debate on ABC. And like I said, it went about as well as you expect. Because, we had pretty much all who was on the stage today was the top Democratic candidates, which was Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, Beto O'Rourke. We had Andrew Yang, Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, Julian Castro. But mainly the people who were there, that this will have, who were actually, people, the candidates that people were there to see was Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren, because they're, and lately, been pretty much tied in the polls so far. And Joe Biden for a while has had an amazing a great lead in the polls, but now lately he's been dropping down, and then Elizabeth Warren has been picking up. So this basically was Elizabeth Warren's chance to clock Joe Biden in the face and then basically take his lead, which it probably will eventually happen. But I'll get to more into the polls just a little later. Let's kind of focus on what was exactly said in the debate last night. So basically, all the candidates who were there, not all of them were insane, but they had insane ideas. Andrew Yang is a really cool dude, he's actually willing to talk to other people on the other side and discuss ideas like a normal person. But the thing is, at the same time, his ideas are still pretty crazy. But okay, especially as they were in what this debate actually was basically a opportunity for all of them to virtue signal, pretty much, and also an eye-opening for many Americans. And like I said, for the last the 7-hour climate time hall last week, this was pretty much a open campaign ad for President Trump, because while there was saying things Trump is a white supremacist, he's the reason why there's so many mass shootings, it's the reason why there's hurricanes or whatever nonsense they spew. There were proposing ideas that would fundamentally destroy the United States. And for example, let's start with Pete Buttigieg. Oh, not Pete Buttigieg, I meant Beto O'Rourke, sorry. But, Beto O'Rourke is, as you recall, he got his kind of fame from running against Ted Cruz back in 2018. And the media, he got all sorts of media attention. You don't believe, how much attention that this guy got in the 2018 midterm elections. Well, it turns out that he lost the midterms and wound up running for president. And for a while, it seemed like he was going to be the front runner, because just how he has this kind of charisma with him, kind of like an Obama-like charisma that could appeal to many people on the intersectional side of the left, Americans, or just all sorts of sides. But as time went on, he just got more and more mechanical, if you will, and then he started dropping down in the polls. He was at top, but then now he's down to 2% in the polls, which I don't know, just and seeing him on Twitter ever trying to find ways to stay relevant is just hysterical. But one of the topics that he is basically taken on recently was gun control. And here's the thing about this: 4 years at this point, Democrats have been saying to Republicans that, oh, we're just fear mongering, that we're not coming for guns. We're not coming for guns. We just want sensible gun control. Well, they've been saying that for many years at this point. Now, in 2019, they're no longer hiding the ball. Like last night, Beto O'Rourke basically openly admitted that he was going to come and take your guns. Like he literally said that he will. Here's a tweet that he posted last night during the debate. He said, "Hell yes, we're gonna take your AR-15s." So yeah, and if you don't follow the gun debate too much, AR-15 the AR-15 is basically the #1 target for Democrats at this point because it's been used in several mass shootings, and they label it like an assault weapon, a weapon of war, or whatever, in a military style like firearm or whatever. But here's the thing: the AR-15s are not used in the military. They were made actually specifically for civilian use. And compared it to our actual regular hunting rifle, like a bolt action 30-06 whatever, like the AR-15 is weaker than that. Then again, it does have the advantage of being a semi-automatic, but so people calling the AR-15 the most powerful and dangerous gun in the world is come on, you obviously don't know that much about guns if you're saying that. But anyways, like I was saying, if he came out and said that he wants to basically ban all AR-15s and all that. If he seriously thinks that's gonna go well over in Texas, this is where he's been advocating on. He's been going around Texas advocating this. If he thinks that's gonna go over well in that state or anywhere else, any other red state in the United States, he's got another thing coming. And several other candidates echo this. Elizabeth Warren echoed this. Joe Biden did as well. Cory Booker and all of them. Seriously, if they all think saying, we need a mandatory gun buyback program or something like that, they got another coming. But that wasn't the only thing they were talking about. Last night, the whole topic of climate came up, and basically is pretty much repeated what they said last week with the climate town hall. Is how they want to propose, Elizabeth Warren proposed a $23 billion or so fund budget to tackle climate change, and her solution to pay for that is basically through a butt. Seriously, she has no serious solution to pay for all that. What she says, she wants to tax the higher 1% to fund that budget. But here's the thing: even if you do that, that's only going to give you a very tiny portion of that budget. So where in the world is the other amount, $20 billion, going to come from? And she has no answer for that. She never does. And Joe Biden did a great job of calling her out about that last night. So yeah. Yes. So basically, last night was supposed to be Elizabeth Warren's night to basically shine a clock Joe Biden in the face. But the thing is, she didn't really perform well. She hardly actually spoke during the thing. She spoke a good bit. Don't get me wrong, but she didn't pop out as well. Joe Biden, I think did the better job during the debate during this whole thing. But and again, it won't really matter at the end. But I'll get to that later. But so that's pretty much yeah. There was Sorry, my nose just bare for a second. So basically, back to let's go back to Beto O'Rourke for a second, because like while while he has like no chance of getting the primary at this point, like it seems like some of the other candidates, like top candidates, are starting to echo his ideas to tackle gun control. Like, definitely not as radical. Like some of the things that Beto has proposed to tackle the whole gun control thing is basically, here's what he tweeted out yesterday. Credit cards have enabled many of America's mass shootings in the last decade, and with Washington unwilling to act, they need to cut off sales of weapons of war today. So basically, he's like advocating to have credit card companies deny people to buy, like if you get like a Visa card or whatever from different, like from Visa, like Visa credit card or something like that. And he also mentioned banks in this. So basically, like it can be your debit card, like your own money that you work for. He basically like banks, credit card companies must refuse to take part in the sale of assault weapons. And again, he doesn't define assault weapons. Like most, like assault weapon is actually made up of term. To be honest with you, like when people think of assault weapons, you mostly think of automatic military, like firearms, like the ones that are actually used in the military, like M16s, whatever. But that does not qualify with AR-15s. AR-15s are semi-automatic, which is basically one pull the trigger, one bullet comes out, and it's made specifically for civilian use. But yeah, this is a dangerous thing to advocate for, because it will create such a divide. Basically, if he does, is like credit card companies start doing this, and banks and all that, that means then there'll be soon a separate bank and credit card company for leftists, and then a separate credit card bank for conservatives, which creates such a divide in this country that I don't know, it will be bridgeable at this point. So like things like this is exactly why President Trump needs to win the election in 2020. And I mean that was evident throughout the entire debate last night. Now one of the guys that actually, he had somewhat some weird ideas, but like I said before, he said somewhat weird ideas, but still willing to talk to people, is Adrian Yang. Like I said before, like he is actually willing to talk to the other side and discuss ideas with them. And he again, while he had some crazy ideas, he wasn't like as insane as the other candidates. But the problem is with him, like while he's like a great guy and all that, he's like 5% in the polls right now. But one of the more irritating things last night actually was when he got done getting interrupted by many people. Like it's clear like they're trying to keep him down from like rising to the top, which is such a mistake. Like they're doing this with Tulsi Gabbard as well. If you don't know, like Tulsi Gabbard is probably one of the better Democratic candidates right now. It's like her ideas are definitely more centrist moderate. I don't agree with all of her ideas, but they're not anywhere near socialist or anything like that. Like she has some sensible ideas, and she also is willing to talk, like Yang, willing to talk to the other side. But like Democrats will basically push her to the side and say, no, you can't come on stage with us, which is again such a mistake. And this is the reason why, again, Trump needs to win in 2020. And I honestly, like, while I think Joe Biden performed like better than the rest of them, I think Trump was the better. Actually, Trump was the actual winner of this debate. Like, yet there's so many. This is basically a large campaign effort, like I said before. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said again, if like Democrats want to win in 2020. Like they can't keep doing this. Like they have to be smart and like actually nominate someone likable as that will actually appeal to other both sides and Americans. But the problem is they don't seem willing to do that. I mean, right now, Joe Biden is still leading the polls as of right now. But that's only going to last him like so much. Like right now, he's actually, like I said before earlier, he's dropping in the polls, and Elizabeth Warren is rising. And it's so like the fact that Elizabeth Warren is rising, it just shows that Democrats did not learn anything from 2016. Like if you've seen Elizabeth Warren in action, like she's worse than Hillary Clinton by far. Like compare Hillary Clinton to her, like Clinton seems like a moderate compared to Warren. And again, like Warren has a little more charisma than Hillary, but she's just much worse than Hillary by far. And you would think that would be impossible. Like Hillary Clinton was a horrible candidate. Like how bad do you have to be to lose to a reality TV star, host of a show called The Apprentice, which was was a pretty good show for the most part. I mean, wasn't hooked to it, but it was okay. It was an okay show. But like, how bad do you have to be to lose to the host and star of that show? Like, seriously. And then Democrats want to come in and nominate someone far worse than her. Like, how stupid can y'all be? So according to the Emerson polling, this is basically a polling how different Democratic candidates would do against Trump. And here's what it says right here. So Joe Biden, with Trump versus Joe Biden, Trump it would be 45%, and Biden is at 55%, which meaning is that Biden has a pretty good shot at beating Trump in the election. With Yang, Trump is the 46, and Trump is at 46, and Andrew Yang is at 54%, which like as a figure, probably he will have a pretty good shot at beating Trump too. And then it goes from Sanders 53, 48. 48 Trump, Sanders 53, and then Kamala Harris is 49 Trump, 51 Harris. Which for those two polls, I mean, while it shows like Sanders and Harris above Trump, like in terms of polling, I don't see them actually beating Trump in the end. I just don't see it, because I mean they're both like Kamala Harris is so all over the place at this point, and then plus like if she were to get in a like on a stage with President Trump, like he will like demolish her. Like seriously. And Sanders, I mean, he may have a shot at beating Trump, but I just don't see it, considering his ideas are just like crazier than Warren's, to be honest. But he's actually more open about it than Warren, which is, I guess, sort of a fresh breath of fresh air, whatever. Sorry. But I mean, I just don't see Sanders being Trump. But then with the Trump versus Elizabeth Warren, it has at Trump 51 and Warren at 49%, meaning that has a pretty good shot that Trump will beat Warren. And it turns out Warren is the most favorable candidate right now, and she's most likely to be the nominee. Okay, I mean, I'm not complaining. Like, I want Trump to win in 2020. But here's the thing, how dumb do y'all have to be to nominate someone less likable than Hillary Clinton, who has the least amount of shot to beat Trump? Democrats are constantly saying their number one goal is to get Trump out of the White House. Well, why don't you actually nominate someone that will do that? Instead, they want to nominate someone who's favored in the media and all that. So, I mean, that's on them. And like, they have no one to blame but themselves when they lose in 2020 if they nominate Warren. And again, I'm not complaining. I want Trump to win, and in whatever way that can happen, I'm for it. Alrighty. So in other news, if you have like kind of been watching the news over the past week, John Bolton was the national security advisor for President Trump. Sorry, I've been very slurring my words today, but yeah, he was basically ousted from the White House, basically over kind of different ideas he has about how to defend America and go after like different how to better defend America and all that. So basically, one of the key things that really started this whole thing was earlier this week. President Trump basically came out and said that he had canceled a meeting with the Taliban after he found out that they attacked like a group of people beforehand to get some kind of leverage with Americans. Which is great that he canceled it, but here's the thing. Why would you set up a meeting with the Taliban in the first place? The Taliban is an awful group of people. Like, they're the ones that sponsored 9/11 and like hid Osama bin Laden for years. So like, why in the world would you want to meet with them? I mean, I get if you want some kind of peace deal, but I don't know. But John Bolton was strongly against that idea. And then, like, he's been, like, kind of against many ideas that President Trump has had regarding, like, foreign adversaries. Like, he was against President Trump meeting with North Koreans, which is recalled, like, President Trump met with Kim Jong-un in North Korea, and basically the deal was trash pretty much. Like, basically President Trump made something like basically offered to take out some military out of South Korea and eliminate some exercise like routines there, whatever, in exchange for a like empty promise of eliminating nuclear weapons, in which North Korea will not do at all. So, and one of the more chief irritants about the whole thing is that President Trump has basically called Kim Jong-un like a friend and be all nice to him, whatever. Like, that may work with like business, like different CEOs. If you were like a business, like he was a really reality. Not only was a reality TV star, he was a real estate agent as well. So like he probably worked like that with different like people. But the thing is, when it comes to like national security and working, like talking to like foreign adversaries like Kim Jong-un, you can like acting like calling them your friend and all that. It's like, it won't. That's not good. Like, you can here's what you can do what Ronald Reagan did. Trust but verify. You can trust that they will follow through on their promise, but verify to make sure that they do. And but then again, John Bolton was, has been against a few of President Trump's like foreign policy issues, and because of that, it's basically on earlier this week, President Trump basically took him in his office and talked to him about like basically for him to step down from his position. Which, okay, well, while I may say it's one of the reasons why he did step down was maybe because of whole like him and Trump disagreeing on foreign policy or whatever. I actually think the most likely reason is because of some more interpersonal issues. That there were many people that didn't like John Bolton. Like, I think Melania didn't like him. Jim Mattis didn't like him very much. So that's probably the most likely reason. Like, knowing Trump is probably really the most likely reason. But okay, let's go back to President Trump's like policy regarding like say Afghanistan. Like his like main like promise when he got into office was basically get all the troops out of Afghanistan as quickly as possible, in which he hasn't really done that yet. Which is, I mean, yes, the book of promise, but I'm not totally against that because, like, I think it would be actually a mistake to withdraw every single troop from Afghanistan, because if that happens, the same thing will happen. What happened to Syria when Obama withdrew soldiers from there? But when I believe it was Syria, right? Yeah, it was Syria. Basically, Obama withdrew from there, and what happened? ISIS grew, and it grew to a large number. And if President Trump were to withdraw all troops from Afghanistan, that same thing would happen. And my fear is that with John Bolton being gone, that he might start leaning towards more of an isolationist view on foreign policy, which I sort of get. I sort of get that we can't be like all over the place, but we still need to have some kind of presence on the global stage. Like we can't just leave everybody like to like their own accords, pretty much. Like there's some nations that just need like some like our especially our enemies like Afghanistan. Like I understand Afghanistan itself is our enemies, but there's people inside of Afghanistan that if we were gone, that they will automatically take control. And basically, like it's the same mistake that happened with 9/11. Like for a while, we became more of an isolationist kind of country, and it became like kind of drop our guard. And what happened? 19 terrorists came into the country, hijacked airplanes, and crashed into the World Trade Centers and the Pentagon and all that. And the same thing happened in Pearl Harbor. Like we basically stayed out of World War II for a while. But yes, we got some aid to the British and all that, but we pretty much stayed out of it. And what happened? Japan came to Pearl Harbor. So, like the idea that basically, because here's the thing, many people like America is is one of the most powerful countries on earth, and like our enemies see that. And if we were basically, when we're like, in our just own bubble, they see us as vulnerable, and that's their opportunity to come in and try to dismantle the system. But if we like keep our guard up and maintain some kind of presence throughout the earth, like the planet and all that, they'll see that that they have no chance. Because honestly, like take away maybe like China and Russia and all that, and in the like small country that like say North Korea that tries to come against us, they'll get demolished. Like seriously, like they'll be done just like that. So yeah, I mean I know it's kind of like this is kind of like a tonal shift a little bit. Like I spent the first half like going at the Democrats and praising Trump as he should be the winner, and I think he does. He definitely needs to be the winner of 2020. I think going back to kind of criticize him over this, but yeah, I mean, like I said, like I've been saying, I would praise him when he does good and praise him when I think he does bad. So, anyways, enough of that. Let's talk about Hillary Clinton. So, yeah, Hillary Clinton. So you remember someone maybe named Hillary Clinton, who ran for president back in 2016, and like I said before, lost to a reality TV star. Which I mean, I guess that's enough to like basically make anyone kind of go down the hole a little bit. But most people, when they lose elections, they kind of get over it, go on their lives. Like Mitt Romney went on with his life and all that, for example. But like with Hillary Clinton, like thing is like she hasn't really accepted that she lost in 2016. Like she still like says that she unjustly lost the presidency in 2016. That Donald Trump is a illegitimate president and all that. It's the same thing that Stacey Abrams says about the Georgia governor seat in Georgia. Sorry, against with Brian Kemp. That she says that she lost because of voter suppression, which is obviously untrue. But like she still hasn't accepted the results. So yesterday, Hillary Clinton posted a picture of her basically, well, it's like on some kind of building. I can't tell where it is. Basically, sitting with some on an oval office type desk with a stack of papers and with a sign that says the Hillary Clinton emails, which is basically her joke was that she was reading her emails and all that. But what this looks like is a picture of her on the Oval Office. Like, basically, like she wanted this time, a small section of like time since she lost in 2016 to make her feel like she's actually the president. So she basically, got dressed up and put up this desk and posed in a picture that looks like her sitting in the Oval Office. Like, I don't know, it's kind of like, I know she did it to herself in 2016, but I don't know. I don't say I necessarily feel bad for her, but yeah. But it's just, I don't know if we call it sad or just hysterical. Maybe both. But yeah, like, ugh. I mean, honestly, I'm slightly surprised that she hasn't decided to run president again. Like, you would think at some point, like, she would have, but at this point, I don't see her actually trying to run, because, like I said before, she is, like, really a moderate compared to all the other people, so I don't think she has any shot at winning the primaries. But we'll see. But then again, Elizabeth Warren has actually been working with Hillary Clinton, so we could see Clinton become a VP candidate for Warren. Maybe. Which, just imagine that. Two of the worst political candidates in the United States going against Donald Trump. Like, that's gonna... Again, Democrats will have no one to blame for themselves when they lose in 2020. It's hilarious. But anyways, let's get to a little bit of good news and bad news kind of section of the show. So good news. Basically, a couple nights ago on Tuesday, actually, the North Carolina had their District 9 had their special election, and it was a win for Republicans. Yeah. So basically, like I said before, like Republicans won that district. Dan Bishop, the Republican, district won about 51% compared to Dan McCready, who won about 49%. Which the main reason why that's so close is because Dan McCready is actually was a former military member and is a centrist moderate in Democratic Party. So that's why it's so close. Which should tell Democrats that if they would nominate someone moderate, they would have a decent shot at winning the White House. But it seems like they have no interest in doing that, which is so dumb. Like, going back to 2018, most of the people, like Democrats that won the houses in that during that election, was all moderates. So why in the world would you nominate someone like Elizabeth Warren, who's like extremely radical? Like, all the radicals in 2018 basically got pummeled. So it doesn't make sense. Like, how can you not learn their lesson when it's like in front of your face over and over and over again? I mean, like I said before, they'll have no one else but themselves to blame. And like I said last week, all Democrats have to do is not be crazy, and they can't simply help themselves. Alright, and let's get to some a little bit bad news as well. So, kind of the bad news, in a way, is that President Trump is basically, and some other members in his administration, is basically starting to advocate for a ban on flavored vaping. And if you don't know what vaping is, it's basically a kind of a electronic pen, I think. Yeah, I've never used it before, but basically it's like this little pen, basically filled with some kind of water vapor and other things, and it actually is safer than like cigarettes, for example. And there's plenty of studies to show that it is in fact safer than like regular cigarettes and all that. And although, and I don't use it, I don't use any kind of smoking like products, whatever. But President Trump has basically advocated for the ban on flavored tobacco or flavored vape pens and all that. Which, okay, while I don't use it, while I find it gross and all that, the government should have no business abandoning these things. And plus, like there's been like about 6 deaths due to vaping. And that's the reason why President Trump came up with this. But the thing is, with all of those 6 deaths, yes, they were children, but all those deaths, the vape pens were laced with some illegal substance that made it more dangerous than what the original product is. Like, if you go to the store and buy a vape pen like off the shelf, it would be fine, like a little bit. I want to say 100% fine, but it would be better, be more safe. But when you get through like the black market, for example, it most likely not be safe. But probably that's part of the reason like how these kids got it. But maybe someone at some school, whatever, went to the store, bought a bunch of vape pens, laced them with something like some bad substance, and gave them out. And that's how the kids got hooked to it and died. And so, like, the whole idea of like banning certain product because of something like that, it just makes no sense. Like, even if you were to ban all like tobacco products, the whole market would shift to the black market, which would make the whole situation more dangerous. Because with the black market, all that would be laced with some other dangerous chemical. So, like I said, I just don't think the government has any say-so in this. I don't think they should have any like responsibility to ban all this. Like, if you want to like smoke cigarettes, like and all that, vape every day, that's on you. Like, if you want to do that, that's on you. But I don't think the government should be involved in that. And I'm actually kind of the same way with marijuana. Like, I used to be like actively against against like any marijuana use. Like, I was open for like banning marijuana together. But as time went on, as I looked more into it, again, I don't use this product, but as I looked more into it, it became clear to me that not only was it less dangerous, was not as dangerous as people were saying, but it had the actual oil in plant had many health benefits. And then again, and also, I don't think the government should have any say-so abandoning that either. Like, while it's may considered to be a gateway drug to other things, alcohol can be a gateway drug, cigarettes can be a gateway drug, like, all sorts of things can be gateway drugs. So, I just don't see a reason why marijuana should be still illegal. Again, I don't use these products. I find it all disgusting. But I just don't think the government should really be involved in these areas. Alrighty, so I think that's pretty much all I have for today. So, before I go, if you're, like I said last week, if you're interested into politics and want to get stuff that show like your support for these like areas. Well, what better way to get look at that stuff, look for that stuff than Amazon. Amazon is like, it's great. I love Amazon so much. Like, anytime I want like a book or whatever, I go to Amazon. And so, yeah, if you want some of these like political themed products, like for example, The Right Side of History, by Ben Shapiro, and I actually started that book recently. It's pretty good so far. But you can get products like that. You can get like stuff like Addicted to Outrage by Glenn Beck. And then you can get, if you want a more intellectualized kind of reading into the minds of the Democratic Party, then get the reasons to vote for Democrats by Michael Knowles. It's a like great book. Now it pains me to actually promote Michael Knowles, but his book is great. His book is really great. But then you get other products like, say, the Let the Tears mug. Now this isn't that. Unfortunately, this doesn't generate its own Let the Tears like the Daily Wire Let the Tears article Tumblr. But I mean, all it does has its label. But it's cool to show off to your like liberal colleagues, whatever. Then yeah, you can get that. You can get some Trump 2020 T-shirts, or all sorts of products. And so I have some links to different products down in the description below. Otherwise, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back here next week. My name is Sean Clinton, and this is the Guy in a Frame Show.